Good afternoon and welcome to today's Mavs EDGE Internship Spotlight. I'm Julie Moy, Internship Coordinator with UTA's Career Development Center. I assist employers with internship program development and direct our Mavs EDGE internship program. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're very excited to welcome Alcon to today's EDGE Spotlight. We'll meet our panelists in just a minute. But first, please be sure to check into the event at the link in the chat. You may begin sending questions to the panel at any time during the event using the question and answer feature, and we'll address your questions near the end of the presentation. So let's get started by meeting our panelists, Abby Brewer and Chris Redmond. Abby, would you like to begin with introductions, please?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks so much for being a part of the Partner Spotlight with Alcon. My name is Abby Brewer. I have been at Alcon over 7 years, all within HR, specifically within talent acquisition, and I lead our university relations efforts for the U.S. So all things internship, co-ops, rotational programs for Alcon. Nice to virtually meet you all.
Thank you, Abby. And Chris?
Yeah, I'm Chris Redmond, graduate actually of UTA in 2007, a while back. Been here at Alcon now close to 16 years. I work in the research and development department as the process development manager, working on different intraocular lens implants.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. I'd also like to introduce our Assistant Director of Internships, David Powers, who's helping to facilitate today's event. So once again, thank you everyone for being with us today. And I also want to thank Alcon for being a Mavs EDGE partner and providing such excellent opportunities to our students. Before we get started with questions, I'd like to turn the session over to Abby and Chris for an overview of Alcon and its programs.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, perfect. Well, yes, everyone, thank you so much for being a part. We are so excited to be here with you all and talk about who we are as a company. So again, you just met us both, Abby Brewer and Chris Redmond. Chris is an alumni, so that's very exciting. I did not go to UT Arlington, but very excited to be with you all today. So we have a 75-year history, and I'm not sure if you know, but Alcon actually started right here in Fort Worth, Texas. And I say right here because I am at the headquarters here in Fort Worth. And we started off as a small little pharmacy, and we have grown to be a $9 billion company. So we really lead the space in innovating life-changing vision products. So our mission is to help people see brilliantly, and that is what we do at Alcon each and every day. No matter your role, you are focused on that. We are also really proud that we focus on the industry first. So we really rely on those strong customer relationships so that we can make sure that we are providing innovative products to really help all people see brilliantly. So we have over 25,000 associates at Alcon. We are a global company. So we are in, I think, 40 to 50 different countries where we have offices. You can see that we have a lot of associates from a lot of different diverse backgrounds, which is really exciting. We are led every day by our foundational principles as Alcon associates. So really that's customers, innovation, and people. Really all of that is what helps us in guiding us to create innovative products that will help people see brilliantly. The other great thing about Alcon is we do believe in unleashing the full potential of all of our associates. So this really is an opportunity and a place that you can really plant your roots and really grow your career. So I don't know if any of these products are familiar with you, but we are really positioned number 1 and number 2 across the space. So in the surgical division, we lead. We are number 1 across the market. So the implantables, consumables, and equipment. So when you think about the surgical space, you're going to want to think about all of that stuff that really helps you when you go to the ophthalmologist. So if you are getting LASIK surgery, if you are getting a cataract surgery, surgery, even glaucoma, that's really where Alcon's products are going to be. Some of you may have had LASIK surgery, and probably a lot of you really are familiar with people who have experienced a different eye disease or condition. So you really understand that the work that we do at Alcon is very important. So in vision care, we are #1 in that ocular health space. So probably some brands that you're familiar with is like Sustain, Pataday, maybe Opti-Free. And then we are #2 in contact lenses, but we're going to be #1 soon. I just know it. We're really starting to think about how can we lead that space. So some of you may actually even use Alcon products. Maybe some of your contact lenses are from Alcon. So like Dailies Total One are just some of the different contact lenses that we have. Maybe the next time that you go to a pharmacy, you can actually look in the eye care space and you will see a lot of Alcon products. Or maybe you can go home and look in your cabinets and see that if you have any Alcon products. So one of the things about Alcon is we really work towards making sure that we treat, prevent conditions that are affecting eye health across the world. So that is one thing that we are super dedicated to, helping all people see brilliantly. Not just people that can afford to see brilliantly, but truly people all around the globe. So we partner with a couple of different organizations, one of those being Mercy Ships, as well as Orbis, the Flying Eye Hospital. So that our different devices for surgical procedures are directly in those vessels. So when those different ships and planes go to third world countries, Alcon's products are there. And not only what we do when we are there is provide access to quality eye care, but we really train those local doctors and nurses so that when we leave, that sustainability piece is still there and all of that knowledge. So when Alcon leaves, all this, the knowledge and everything is still there, so the local communities can continue to support their clients. Brilliant impact. So we are driven by our shared passion for exceptional eye care. So here at Alcon, we really provide meaningful, rewarding work that really makes you feel good. So I am really far away from the patient in university relations, but I get to work with a lot of brilliant people each and every day that are dedicated to helping people see brilliantly. So I know that even in my role, I am dedicated to that mission, which is really exciting. So all of us work together with that one shared mission in mind. Also, Alcon to me is the best place to be. I've been here over 7 years, as I mentioned earlier. There's so much potential here at Alcon. There's a breadth of experiences. So if you are a part of the HR function, you could do a development role within R&D. Now, probably they wouldn't want me to do any scientific research or anything along those lines, but you definitely can work in those development roles so that you can really think about how you could be unleashed in your full potential at Alcon. We also have amazing benefits at Alcon. One of the things that we offer for our exempt associate is flexible time off. So it's no set number of days. You just work with your local leader to really outline what works best for you. We also have unlimited, I'm going to tell you, free contact lenses for our associates and their families, which is an awesome perk for working at Alcon. We also have an amazing tuition reimbursement program, which is super cool. One of the things that I love about Alcon is our feedback culture. So we really do value giving as well as receiving feedback, which I think is super awesome. And it doesn't just happen from colleague to colleague in your team, but really all across the organization. It really allows for people to take those informed risks and really be able to be a part of that See Brilliantly culture. We also do cross collaboration within different functions, which is exciting. So I'm a part of university relations. Chris is a part of R&D, but we are here together because that's what we do at Alcon. We work together for one mission, and I absolutely love that component of Alcon. So let's talk a little bit about our internship and co-op programs, which I will go to a little bit more in depth. So if you are on your phone, we can definitely share this link with you all that you can go and learn a little bit more about what it's like to intern at Alcon. But if you're able to, you definitely can scan that QR code there. But last year, we were recognized as one of the top 100 internship programs in the US, which was really exciting. It was our first year applying, and we were very honored to receive from over, I think, 800 different companies. So we were really proud of that. One of the great things about interning at Alcon is our interns have the opportunity to network with key leaders. So not only are you going to come and be able to help people see brilliantly, but you're going to really be able to grow your career, be able to get to meet different people, maybe outside of like your function. Maybe you're in HR and you get to meet some R&D folks, but it's a really cool program that we offer these networking opportunities. We also have very robust programming. So two of the colleagues that are on my team, they are dedicated. And I'm going to tell you what, they put in blood, sweat, and tears to really provide a robust programming for all of our interns to really make sure that they have a good experience. We do manufacturing site tours. So here in Fort Worth, we have a couple of different manufacturing sites, and then we also have a distribution center. So we offer internships across the entire United States, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail, but it is really cool to go and see the manufacturing tours. We have a mentoring program for our young professionals employee resource group. So we offer all of our interns connection with one of the YP buddies is what we call them. So it's somebody outside of like your regular function because you'll join a team and that will be really cool. But then you'll also have the opportunity to be mentored by one of those young professionals. Probably one of the coolest things that we do is we do a cataract demo for our interns, which is probably the best event every year from our interns. It's super cool that you get to see the demo of how a cataract surgery is done and the different tools that are Alcon, how like the IOL, which is the interocular lens, goes into the eye. So it's really cool. You're really able to connect to helping people see brilliantly a little bit more. We do a resume and interview coaching workshop just so that you can know what are the things that I put on my resume after my internship, or how do I even interview for a full-time role? So we really provide a coaching workshop and provide you with some good tips and tricks on that. We also celebrate National Intern Day, which usually is at the end of July, but it is a day all about celebrating our interns across the United States. It is a national day, so I don't know if you are familiar with that, but it definitely is a day that we celebrate here at Alcon. We also have meaningful work assignments. So when you come in as an intern at Alcon, your team has already been working very hard to make sure that you have a good experience. A part of that is they are really creating those robust experiences so that you can work on like really meaningful, impactful projects. And then there's vital experience within med device and eye care industry. So gives you that kind of leg up to work for the global leader in the eye care industry. So this is our US locations. I always think this map is pretty cool because you can see like Alcon is on the outskirts of the United States, which I think is pretty cool. But you can see that we have some offices in California, also here in Texas, Johns Creek, Georgia, Durham, North Carolina, Huntington, West Virginia, and then Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania. And we have interns and co-ops in almost all of the sites. We don't have any in Sinking Springs, but we do in all of our other sites. So what are some areas that you could join at Alcon? You might think like, eye care, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an ophthalmologist. Well, here at Alcon, like I said earlier, we have over 25,000 associates, and there is something for every person to do. It really honestly doesn't matter your degree. You could be a part of our R&D function, so like mechanical engineering, those other types of engineering like biomedical, optics. You could be a part of like our material science, chemistry. You could also be a part of like our IT function and the data science side of things. So like software, computer engineering. human factors, you could be a part of our manufacturing function, so working on manufacturing, quality, supply chain. You could be a part of corporate functions, so that might be like finance, might be accounting, tax, HR, learning and development, project management, communications. You could then also be a part of our commercial function. So that's going to be marketing and sales, everything that has to do with really selling those Alcon products. So what are our requirements to be an intern at Alcon? Well, you must be enrolled in a university, and you must be going to the university prior to your internship and then also post your internship. So for instance, if you were applying for an internship at Alcon for our May 2024, you must be currently enrolled in school, and then you also must be going back to school post August when you do finish. And then our academic performance, we have a minimum 2.8 GPA. We just have that because we're a government contractor. GPA isn't necessarily something that disqualifies you here at Alcon, but it's just something that we have to have. And then we also do offer internships for our international students. We definitely want to see that you have some leadership skills. We want to make sure that you are a good communicator, and then that you have the ability to work 10 to 12 weeks full-time, which is 40 hours per week. So our internships this year are going to be May 28th through August 16th. So how do you apply for an Alcon internship? Well, I would definitely encourage you to go to our career site. What you can do when you go to the career site, you can actually create like a job search. You can go to summer 2024. I would also encourage you to create a job alert. So anytime, say that you are interested in manufacturing, anytime that a role within, let's say, supply chain comes open, you would then be notified about that, and then you could go ahead and apply for that role. I also want to talk to you about a really exciting program that we have for our STEM majors. This is our second annual Innovate Boldly D&I R&D externship event. I know that's a really long title, but this is a 4-day in-person event for 30 rising sophomores and some juniors as well. It's an opportunity for you to come to Alcon for those 4 days. So during those 4 days, you have the pleasure to be able to tour our R&D function, learn all about who Alcon is as a company, really have hands-on leadership development workshops where you're going to learn about like, how do I write a resume? You're going to learn about some technical skills as well. You're going to get advice from some of our employee resource groups. You're also going to participate in a team case study. So think about maybe like Shark Tank idea. You have about 24 hours, and then you get to pitch that to R&D leaders, which is really exciting. There's even an award for the study that the leaders want to take to market, which of course they definitely don't. But yeah, you definitely get an award, which is really exciting. You also get the opportunity to attend like workshops, panel discussions. You get to learn from different R&D leaders, which is really cool. And then probably one of the best things is you get to interview for a summer 2025 internship. So it really allows you that opportunity to get in front of some key leaders and be able to interview. So like I said, this is some of the cool things that you get to do. For instance, like a vision board you get to partake in, lunch with R&D leaders. You also get to do an experience center tour, which is a state-of-the-art training and development site that we have here at Alcon. Networking, headshot. You get to learn about our corporate culture. There's all different types of things. So you can see that's just a little bit more in depth of our agenda. And then it's going to be, our externship event is going to be here in Fort Worth. So if you're not familiar where we are in Fort Worth, in South Fort Worth on 35 and 20 is where we are located. So that's where it's going to be. It is not paid, and it's not for credit, but we will cover expenses. For instance, travel, hotel, meals, all of that will be covered. So literally, when you leave your house till you leave Alcon, we will cover all of that. And the application is going to close March 1st. So I will shoot that QR code here as well. Again, it's for those STEM majors. We definitely encourage you to apply, and you can apply here. We are actually even having an info session this evening. So if you go to our LinkedIn page, you can find details about that. You can also send me an email, and I would be happy to get you added for that. It will be at 8 p.m. Central, where our team is going to talk all about what it's going to be like to do the externship here at Alcon, a little bit more in detail than I gave today. So I'm going to actually turn it over to my colleague, Chris, who's going to give you a little bit more in depth of what he does at Alcon and how he helps people see brilliantly. So Chris, over to you.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, so as Abby said, there's a lot of good information she put out there, and again, like she said earlier, Alcon's a place that you will stay for a long time. It's exciting. The things that we do are really an exciting task, and helping people see better, see brilliantly, right, as we say. And like I said, I've been here for almost 16 years now, working within the research and development team, working on former products, new products, development products, things that are coming out, traveling here or there to the manufacturing sites to work on different developments. One of the great things that I've had in my career here at Alcon was working on existing improvements to the Acrosoft line that was present in the market for a number of years, doing those improvements and then seeing those products be implanted into family members and being able to see that as an improvement for their site. One of the greatest things now for me, as I've progressed in my career here at Alcon, is the Clarion portfolio that Abby talked about. I was part of the team that transferred those products, that product line, and that development process into manufacturing in Cork, Ireland. Spent a number of time there going back and forth and putting that process into place, which led into the opportunity to receive the Brilliance Alcon Award last year for some of the innovation stuff that I created for that product line. Now seeing that product go into friends and family that I know, and knowing that I had such an impact on the process for that, it's an exciting, great achievement for you to kind of see where things go, and to think about everything that you put into the product lines or everything that you work on gets implanted into humans, helping them see better every day. It kind of sets you back and blows your mind at times. But it's an opportunity, especially as interns come in or new employees come in, specifically in our Fort Worth team. Our role in this organization under the process development or process engineering group is to take what goes from a concept, an idea, to a manufacturable state, and then transferring that over to a full-scale manufacturing capability to provide those products to patients. So that's kind of where we lie is here in Fort Worth R&D is taking that, being that bridge to moving things into a scaled production line. So it is a fun, exciting, fast-paced environment, but there are plenty of opportunities to grow within your career. And as Abby said, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm not a biomedical engineer. I'm not a chemical engineer, but I do a lot of those things through the development work that I did through these processes, and I've learned a lot through those processes. But having the mechanical background, especially from UTA, was a great opportunity to get in here and use those skills and abilities where we are today. So that's just a little bit of insight on what my team does specifically and where interns or new employees go from there.
Great. Thank you so much. I mean, this is such great information for our students. We have a lot of questions rolling in. So, I mean, I have a few of my own. Just real quick, Chris, tell me, as an intern, do they get to work on hands-on projects, or, what is their role in the research and development department?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of the time we have different products that are coming through that we're working on. And so an intern working for me will have an aspect of that project that they're working on. Knowing that everything is very long-term, and internships relative to the product line or product development are very short, it's an opportunity to get hands-on development into some sort of chemical application or some sort of machining or robotic design application. So we try to get as much involved in something that would be achievable throughout that summer internship, that there's something that at least is completed at the end of it. Most everything won't be on those projects, but there are usually things that we try to provide that will go down that path.
Sure, and just having that hands-on experience,
right?
That's truly a great learning opportunity for an intern. The first student question I have, they're asking about full-time roles available at Alcon. Abby, would you like to expand on that?
Yeah,
and maybe how does an intern, what can they do to really set themselves apart during their internship so that they get that interview for a full-time role?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one of the cool things that we have at Alcon is we have a 3-year rotational program that our interns are eligible for. It is called Envision. So we hire 6 interns from Alcon to be a part of that rotational program, which is exciting. So that's kind of a foot in the door to Alcon for our interns. But as it relates to full-time roles and really how do associates and candidates stand out in their application, look, we know that Alcon's a really popular place to be. We know that a lot of people want to come here just being a leader in the innovative space. So at Alcon, I would definitely encourage candidates to really make sure that their resume correlates to the job description, even if like there's different skills that maybe you don't have exact experience with, but really how does that correlate with your schooling, some of the extracurricular things that you did. So I always encourage students to do that. Also, make sure that you highlight those different leadership opportunities that you were a part of, even if it's just within clubs or you were a part of a leadership panel within one of your classes, really highlighting that. We know that our early career students might not have a lot of experience, but you bring a breadth of experience from your university and really all of that experience as well. So I would definitely encourage that.
Thank you for that, Abby. And just out of curiosity, how many interns do you hire at the Fort Worth location each summer and nationwide? If you know that off the top of your head.
I do. So last year we had about 120 different interns and co-ops across the US, and about 55% of them are here in Fort Worth. And we convert about 40 to 45% of them into roles at Alcon post the internship.
Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
Abby, I was going to say that one of my new employees from last year, she's been here about 6 months. She was a former intern at Sinking Springs. So, and she was a standout from college, her experience there. So definitely we rolled one into the process development team.
Well, Chris, that's great that you have someone with that type of, that's, like you say, stood out. What did she bring to the table to land that full-time role?
Yeah, I mean, it was exactly like Abby said. It was the leadership skills that she had. She exhibited those, the things that she provided in her interviews with that. The background she had from even just senior design or design projects within school. Again, we know that they're going to be new people coming in are going to have limited amount of background. But one of the things I would say for me, I'm always interested in, especially when it comes to engineers. I'll take the opportunity to ask about hobbies. If you're an engineer and you are very detail oriented, typically, your hobbies, whatever you choose that you're working on or involved in, the more detail you know about it, and the more we can have a conversation about it, and you show that level of how detail oriented you are in there, that helps a lot. That really provides an insight of, yeah, this person really is following and getting involved in things. So that's one of the things that I learned when I first came here from a first employer, first manager that I had, and I've kind of carried that on since.
That's really good
Great.
feedback. I would also say having a passion for what we do at Alcon is a big hit on the interns that we hire. They're just dedicated to helping people see brilliantly, maybe from their own story or just the
Yeah.
work that we do within the community. So having a connection to that as well.
Yeah, that's really great advice. We'll get to another student question. We have several. Does Alcon hire international students on F1 visas or students who are on F1 STEM OPT?
Yes, so we do hire students, and we can also sponsor as well.
Fantastic. Are there any specific roles that new graduates can apply to if majoring in computer science?
Yeah, so as it relates to those specific early career programs, for maybe like IT, we don't have any structured programs, but within our R&D function, we have Envision, which is for our interns. But Alcon really doesn't have any programs that we hire. We want to hire for a mass amount of the May grads or the December grads, but really Alcon hires on a business basis. So I would encourage you to go to our website. You can search for any roles if you're looking for something related to computer science, and you can create a job alert that way. So you would be notified at any time a role come open with, say, like computer science. And I would definitely encourage you to continue to, check our website as well.
Right, thank you. We have one more question. Actually, we've got a couple more from students. Are there any new roles going to be added that the students should look out for as technology, surges forward? Do you foresee any of that opening up in the future?
Yeah, so I think that Alcon, and I can't speak fully to it, but I think that Alcon's really thinking about how do we expand into to the digital space. We know that being an innovative company, that's something that we really need to start tapping into. So I would imagine that there's going to be some roles coming open that you'll want to keep your eye out for that kind of digital space that is going to be happening.
Yeah, Abby's right. There is an increase in the research and development side of things on the AI side of things, which I don't know much about what that area is involved in because we're not too involved with them
I
on
don't
that
think
side of things.
anyone knows.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But AI is a big topic right now,
Sure.
especially in the research and development side, but also modeling and simulation. The more and more we can model and simulate things without having to do so much of the hands-on practical manufacturing, we can get kind of a jump on that. That modeling and simulation side of things is really trying to expand its role.
Well, so exciting. And like you say, you're at the forefront of cutting edge companies. So that will be very exciting for students to look for those roles. Here is another student question. What is the interview process like for full-time roles and internship roles? Is it different? How does that work?
Yeah, so it does vary just slightly. Our internship roles, we like to meet most of our interns at campus events. So we do like to meet them through our externship. If we go to career fairs, if we do different events like this, because we do like to meet the students right where they're at and really get to know them before we take them through the interview process. The interview process for our internships is not too complex. It's really just one interview with a couple of panel members after that screen that we have with the recruiter or somebody on campus, and then we really go into extending an offer. Now, as it relates to our full-time roles, that's going to be a little bit more detailed. So that's going to be a phone screen with a recruiter, and then probably interviewing with maybe 3 to 5 people. It could be panel style, it could be individual. The great thing about Alcon is that our recruiters are very detailed and provide you all of that information, and they're really great at making sure you know exactly who you're going to be interviewing for, how long the interview is going to be. Also, our interviews are done virtually. So that is also something that you can look forward to as well.
Thank you, Abby. During the application process, what is the best way for students to show their interest and follow up? Should they contact you on LinkedIn, or what would you recommend for them to network?
Yeah. So I would definitely encourage you to be connected to Alcon on LinkedIn. Also, our recruiters are really great at making sure that they follow up with the candidates that apply for our different roles. Also, I encourage associates and candidates, like if you're interested in going into like simulation or something like that, to find people within that function on LinkedIn and really starting to connect with them as well. Obviously, you definitely don't want to bombard them, and being very courteous as well, but definitely making sure that you are starting to connect with those people, I would say would help as well.
Yeah, that is really great advice. I appreciate that. Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say what was exciting for me last year. I did one of the career fairs at UTA, and I met an individual at the career fair, and she ended up having a really strong resume. We had a great conversation. I flagged her in the system for follow-ups. She ended up getting an internship last summer, and now she's been hired into our Envision program, and she's part of our Envision program. She'll be here for the next few years, moving into what career field she chooses. So again, it works really well. That engagement in those career fair days, or reaching out via LinkedIn. Abby's 100% right. Make those connections and stay persistent. It's always good.
Persistence is definitely
Yes.
great advice, and we tell our students that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, come knowing a little bit of something, right? Have an idea what Alcon does, and be able to have that understanding. You don't have to be an expert in the field, but just knowing what Alcon does and what areas you're interested in, that's a great way to move forward.
Again, really great advice for our students. I'm just curious, this is a question for both of you. Did you have an internship before you entered your career, or back in your undergrad days?
Chris, do you want to answer?
Sure. Yeah, so I did. I had a couple of internships from UTA. I worked locally at a refrigeration company, and then I did some aerospace internships to give me that opportunity to kind of see what was out in the field. But knowing that my original background, I started off at UTA actually as a veterinary medicine major and changed degrees.
Oh, wow.
So ultimately, I wanted to end up back in medical device. So that's why it gave me an opportunity to kind of test things out. Use internships. I would highly recommend using internships as an opportunity to see if that's an area that you're really, really interested in for your career.
Yeah, that's
And that's
great
a great
advice.
point. Sometimes internships can show you maybe what you don't want to do.
Correct.
It's a learning experience that's just as
100%.
valuable to steer you to what you would like to do.
Yep.
And I hear that a lot from people in your position.
Yep.
Yeah, so for me, I got my undergrad in agricultural business and economics from New Mexico State University. So I'm from Montana, went 2 years to Montana State, then transferred to New Mexico State University. And then I moved back to Montana and was in nonprofit. So I was in AmeriCorps, which is like Peace Corps for America, for a year. And then I went into nonprofit work and was there 7.5 years. So I did not do any internships, and then I landed the job at Alcon, and I've been here over 7 years. And then with my time here at Alcon, I did get my MBA from LSU, but no, I never had an internship. So probably not very traditional.
So you hired a lot of interns, and are there any, not sharing names, but are there any success stories that you would like to share?
Oh my gosh, yes. Just kind of like Chris was talking about, a few of them for sure, but absolutely, definitely our Envision program, which is really exciting to see those students that we met on campus, which then, they came and did an internship, and now they're doing a rotational program, and they are just blowing it out of the water. And we get to be a part of those really top talent students and having them come to Alcon in that capacity. Also, I would say that our externship, it's really cool to meet students there in that capacity. And I mean, these are top students as well. And then seeing them get an internship and then hopefully then being a part of Envision, it's just really cool. But yeah, absolutely. Somebody that was a part of our team within HR, she started off as an intern. And then she moved into our team within university relations when she graduated. Then she went into our inside sales function and she was there less than a year. And now she's an account manager and she's definitely early in her career. And I'm just so proud of her for her tenacity and just not giving up. So yeah, I get to see multiple of our past interns. Actually, since we've been sitting here, I saw 3 of them walk by going to a meeting in one of our halls that we have here. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine watching them grow and develop. And you hit on this in your presentation, and maybe you could just expand a little bit more, but it seems like there's so many possibilities within Alcon once you are hired full-time that you can really move to different parts of the company. And how does that work for someone who's newly hired?
Yeah, so I might let Chris kind of talk about his own experience too as well. But you know, being a part of a global company, and once you can get in with Alcon, we do truly believe in unleashing the full potential of each and every associate. So it's having those conversations with your leaders, networking, making sure that you're a part of different mentoring projects, and then also those stretch assignments that you can be a part of. For instance, if you know, like in my instance, if I wanted to be a part of a global project to work with somebody in Ireland on something to do with payroll or something along those lines, or building out an early career process for one of our colleagues in India or something along those lines, which can then only open doors for you. And maybe being a part of different functions within Alcon, kind of like Chris said, you really in your internship, you can decide what it is that you really like to do. Well, it's the same for full-time associates as well, that you can really think about like, okay, where's my next move? So constantly thinking about that, you know, like where do I want to go to next? And I don't know if Chris has a
Yeah.
story as well.
No, absolutely. Actually, one of my direct reports was a biochemistry major, or actually microbiology major at UTA. He was originally hired into the pilot team that does kind of our small manufacturing work. As we were doing the work with Ireland and transferring, we kind of tagged him to help us with some of that level of work. He showed so much promise that we actually had him assigned over there for a short amount of time. He was there for a few months of doing some of the work there, and it just progressed into the point that it was from the process side of things. We started asking, okay, we need to move this individual as an engineer into our team. And now he's been reporting me for a number of years. He's one of our senior engineers in the team. So he went from a different career path into the process team by some of those opportunities that popped up. Willingness to go for a short amount of time to do some of these projects and transfers and work in these locations, and it worked out well among others that I've worked with too that have done similar situations early in their career, not really tied down to things, able to move around, and progression very quick into really good roles.
We actually had somebody that was an intern, and she went into R&D, and then because I think that she is she definitely is like an electrical engineer or something along those lines. Then she came over to commercial
Yep.
to lead a brand, and Chris probably knows
I know
exactly
exactly who
I'm
you're
talking
talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so she now leads a brand in the commercial space, not doing any science work, but it's just really cool to see like people move around and really kind of find their niche.
Yeah, she was a designer over here on our side, working on initial design concepts, working with me, developing them, and then she moved into those commercial roles, and she's doing fantastic over there.
Literally,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
she's
Yeah.
there.
Well, and Chris, you yourself, it sounds like when we were talking before this started, that you've moved around at
Right.
least
I've
in
stayed
different
within the
projects.
same, yeah, right, exactly. I've stayed within the IOL franchise, but I have moved around within the team itself. But yes, for me, it's the joy of working on some of these kind of off the wall projects. There are so many things that we work on that are so complicated, but are such a thrill to work on and try to see come to fruition in manufacturing. Not all of them work. That's what research and development's all about.
That's
But
right.
it is a really cool opportunity to just be creative. Really, it's R&D is creative, is what it is.
I've never heard that tied to mechanical engineering, but
Yep.
I believe you. I mean, that is definitely a great insight. And we have a couple more student questions that just popped up. I know we're running kind of close to time, but one student asked, do you have to be, you mentioned, Abby, that you have to be enrolled in school and should be returning back to school after the internship. What if you're graduating right before the internship or during the summer? Would they still be eligible?
So they wouldn't be eligible for an internship, but you would be eligible for a full-time role at Alcon. So our interns, the earliest you could be graduating is December 24.
Okay, perfect. And what is your recruitment timeline? When do you start posting internships for the summer?
Yeah, so we typically start posting our internships around September, October. So a lot of our internships have already been filled, but we still do have some internships open that are on our career site.
Well, and so that's good for students to know, because I think they don't realize that that you start posting those so early in the fall. They're thinking, oh, it's February, I'll start looking. But it's good to know that there's still opportunities. And when do those applications close?
Yeah, so it's just going to depend upon each of the roles individually, but we're definitely getting to the window that a lot of them are going to be closing pretty quickly.
All right, so students, hop on Handshake and use that QR code that Abby flashed so that you can find out more information. This is our last question from students. Does Alcon use screening or review software to evaluate resumes?
We do not. We do not do that, actually. So I think we're kind of probably the only ones. We also do not have like a pre-screening that you have to do like a video interview and then go through. I would say that we're not there. I don't know if we'll ever be there, but we do like to really kind of see each and individual person that we meet. That's why we like to meet students on campus, to be real honest with you, so that we can get to know them and see them where they're at.
That's great. I don't have any other questions from students. Is there anything that we haven't covered? You've been so thorough talking about the culture and all the opportunities and what it's like to work in R&D and HR and the many opportunities that are available at Alcon. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I saw a message here from Brian, who was one of our former
Yes.
interns last year. Oh, hey, Brian. So nice to see you. Thank you so much for being part of the panel and really always, talking so nicely about Alcon. We really appreciate it. I would definitely say that, connect with us on LinkedIn, really investigate who Alcon is as a company and see if this is something that you find passion in. We get to come to work each and every day to help people see brilliantly, and it's absolutely amazing. So we would love to meet all of you, and just thank you so much for being a part, and thank you so much for having us.
It's been a pleasure to have both of you. Chris, did you have anything else to add?
I was just going to say, I mean, when I hired into Alcon 16 years ago, it was a different place, right? I was still a little bit slower paced than it is today. But one thing I would say to carry on that anybody's interested in joining into Alcon is the persistency. I said, when I was reaching out to the recruiters, I continue to reach out to recruiters every week. Stay on top of that, because even though the initial recruiter I was speaking to, I probably annoyed them to death. They passed me on to somebody else, and then I got hired on into a role that opened up. So consistency and keeping that little ping in the ear of the recruiter, it's not a bad thing. It shows the willingness to come and do something really special here at Alcon.
Well, that brings a question I have that I hear from students is, at some companies, you're only allowed to apply every like 6 months. Is that the case at Alcon? Like if they apply and they're rejected, how persistent can they be, or do they have to, is there a period that they have to wait?
We don't have any waiting period here at Alcon, so you can apply for whatever fits you best.
That is great news. Well, we are almost out of time. I want to thank everyone for attending today's EDGE Spotlight. This has been so informative. Abby and Chris, it's just been a pleasure to get to talk to you. Again, students, you'll find links to more information in our comments section. Please make sure that you visited the link in the chat to check into the event. We'll post this recording on the CDC LinkedIn Spotlight page, the Student Teams channel, our weekly internship newsletter, and on our YouTube channel. Thanks again, Abby and Chris, for joining us today, and students who are tuning in. I wish you the best of luck with the spring semester.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Take
Bye.
care.
Go Mavs.
Take care.
Go Mavs.